Good evening.
Good evening.
So today's video is going to be that mixed topic kind of video.
Your new intro.
Day. Yep.
Yeah.
Day new.
Okay, so today is day 2 of symptoms
Day 1
for us two. Day 1 of complete quarantine.
Yes.
Self-quarantine because we cannot get tested.
No.
Okay, so we had a home doctor out last night, and we have what is it? It's viral and it's respiratory. So we have a respiratory viral infection. So that
Yay.
sounds like something.
Sounds exactly like coronavirus. Sounds fun.
Fun.
Jazz hands.
Yeah. So the other thing though is the reason why testing is so important, for all the reasons yesterday, if you want to know why I spoke for it a while yesterday, but also because people might present their symptoms in different ways. I haven't heard this yet, but I mentioned yesterday how I was feeling like I needed to touch my face, and maybe that was a psychosomatic thing. No. It's really part of what's going on here, and if it's part of what is going on physically with us, but if it is coronavirus, that would be important just because that's something to pay attention to, like everything here. And if that was the case, then I would have made sure that you were quarantined earlier, because you experienced this dryness first.
Around my lips.
That's
and
right.
a little bit on my chin.
Yeah, so about 6 days ago, Willow woke up and it was very aggressive, dry red lips. And so that was 6 days ago, but we still went out because that wasn't a symptom that we were aware
So
of.
just like the only respiratory symptom like this then.
But that's right, it definitely wasn't on the list. And still it's taken a while to decrease the redness with moisturising and everything else like that. And so we've been symptomatic for 2 days. If this is part of coronavirus, then you've been symptomatic with that for 6 days, but otherwise you've been symptomatic with what's going on for 6 days. The reason that it also supports that is because I am the oldest, and I have probably the most presenting symptoms. Your symptoms are way more subtle, and so that doesn't speak to the flu usually, because actually if we're going to get the flu usually, I don't get it as bad as they do, Taylor especially. So I'm usually the last to get it, and it doesn't seem to be as bad as theirs. Whereas this time, yeah, I'm still the last to get it, I think. But not representing symptoms worse or, yeah. So anyway, so all of those things make me actually feel like we probably do. I'm just trying to support my back, because the thing that
I thought you were trying to itch your back.
No, the thing I was also saying yesterday about anxiety maybe causing my back to feel pressure is actually my shoulder bone, which would be lungs, and that pain, I guess you'd call it a pain. It's like an ache kind of thing that continues. That's continued all last night and through the day. So that's not something that I can just brush off now. I think it's in our nature to try and brush things off. At the same time, as this is day 2 of symptoms, and people have said that they've had 3 days of the whole thing and then it's gone, I'm hoping that mine is a very mild case.
If you do have it at all.
Yes, well, I have something, so I'm hoping it's a mild case of whatever. But if it is the coronavirus, I do hope that this is the symptoms that they're talking about, that will, tomorrow will be my last day. So breathing wise, probably a little bit worse than yesterday as of tonight.
So like from a 1 to 10, how bad is the breathing? How bad was it yesterday?
Yesterday about a 2, today about a 4. 4. So that's only in the last couple of hours. So the other thing is I haven't done this since I was pregnant with you guys, but I had to have an afternoon sleep as well.
Afternoon nap.
So I had a couple of hours this afternoon.
2 hours.
Yeah. So anyway, more testing. I really hope we see a change in that, just so that there can be more accurate data, but also so that planning can go into it, because the reason why you need accurate data is so that you can actually plan and prepare, and there won't be an inevitable crisis. It can, I understand that people are saying it's the same no matter what. Not from a planning perspective. From a planning perspective, it would change drastically if we had accurate data, because then we could forecast models better, plan better, and everything. So actually, maybe from a staying at home perspective, if you've got the flu or the coronavirus, that may not change drastically, but having medical supplies, knowing that you should be one of the ones quarantining yourself, all of those things actually, they contribute. Hospital beds, all of the above. In order to flatten the curve, you need the data to support that, because then the people will be given the information they need to then follow that. So I hope that this changes and more testing is done. I think it would be incredibly valuable, and the World Health Organization has said that it's something necessary. So I really hope that the government treats the data as an urgent thing, because that will help manage this over a long period of time. And now I need to stop and breathe.
Yeah. Okay,
so no, mostly it's just a call out to get the data, and in order to get the data, you need to test everyone who's symptomatic and all children who have been exposed to someone who's symptomatic, because in many families they may have been to different places than their parents.
I thought you just said make sure to test everyone, and I was like,
yeah, so no, not everyone, but everyone who presents as symptomatic, and continue to test all travellers, but definitely everyone who's symptomatic, because then again, the data could be very positive, but that's not the most valuable part. The most valuable part is when you have correct data, then you can actually plan and forecast and manage better from a governmental health leadership position. We're not talking, so that the community can have that information to freak out or feel comforted by. No, I think that a lot of us, especially those who are experiencing symptoms, would feel comforted if we could trust that what needed to be done was being done, and I don't think it is. The miscommunication online, especially with people saying, well, if children go to school, everything's fine and everything else. What they're not understanding is that the government have to plan for the masses. So they have to do a numbers game. If they close schools, then what about all the children of the nurses and doctors? All of those things. So it's not because it's the safest place to be or anything else like that, but they have to manage this crisis. And if the schools are actually closed, then there's a problem. The other problem presenting on the opposite side of this is that people I'm hearing directly from on Facebook are not they're actually met with resistance from the school for taking their children out. What I think needs to be done from a governmental side of things is for people who actually have the capacity to either continuing working from home or are at home and can take their children out of school, then that is actually going to help the children of the health professionals have less less potential for contact, because the less people, the less potential for contact. So what actually makes more sense is if instead of the schools stopping parents, there should actually be an actual complete reversal of that, and they should say, we're not closing the schools, but if you can take your children home, do so, because that is going to help with flattening the curve. It will also help there will be less of a chance for the health professional that you need to get sick if their children aren't, when their masks are off and they're in their own house, when their children who have come from being in a huge crowded space come home to their health professional parent, then there is definitely going to be cross-contamination there. The other thing that I find very frustrating to hear is when they have a news conference and they say, we don't have, there is no evidence to support the contamination happening outside of travel. The reason why there is no evidence to support that is because no one is allowed to be tested for it. So that statement in and of itself is just frustrating to hear, because it's giving this particular idea, and then there's going to be a carelessness attached to that. Instead of them misdirecting in this way, it's important to just take measures as much as you can, yet we can be flexible. Parents want to take their children out of school, let them. That helps you, and it helps the community, and it helps flatten the curve. That means the school can remain open, and for the students who definitely need it, and with the reduced numbers, less potential for all of that to happen. So there are things that need to happen here, and I think sometimes outside of the box thinking like that solution can actually work, because not everything needs to be all or nothing. There can be, but what it shouldn't be is blanket statements that are really false because they're not supported by data, because there is no data, but also not letting people do what could actually help. So anyway, I would like to see more action there, more actual common sense action, whether it needs to be state or federal, whatever. I'll start at state, and then maybe we can show that this is managed here, this works, and maybe others can follow, or maybe these kind of common sense approaches can at least be looked into, because it doesn't have to be just that solution. There can be so many more. Yeah, and I think that would be really important to do. Anyway, I need to go and sit down because my breathing is gone worse.
Okay, yeah,
Talking
okay.
like this.
Make sure, and also by the way, while we're kind of itching everywhere, it's because we're hot and sweaty.
The girls have been running around,
Yeah.
having some fun. Oh, how's quarantine going for you guys?
Well, it kind of feels normal.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like this is home, this is life.
Yeah.
Because we basically did this before, except we
It
went
does
to
feel
shops
a
daily.
bit weird not going to the shops, but yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause they
Yeah.
usually
Not
want
leaving at all is a bit weird.
Because they usually went daily, but now we're just.
Oh yeah, we leave the house. We love coming home. We love being home, but we usually don't stay home all day. So I guess it is going to be something.
Yeah, but it's gonna be like one of the best months of our life.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
That'd be amazing.
That's it.
That's right. Alright.
Make sure you like and subscribe and click the notifications bell to receive all notifications.
That is if you want to. We also have an Instagram and Twitter.
And feel free to share on all the socials.
Development